Solutions to environmental problem. Because of globalization, we can buy and eat the food we want. We can travel around the world. Increasing job. We have modern technologies and etc. Because of its positive effect on people, we are no longer aware that we are gradually destroying nature. So some of the famous countries and companies are helping to reduce the destruction of environment.
In 2019, Adidas expects to make 11 million pairs of shoes with recycled ocean plastic. That's more than double what it made in 2018. Adidas says the partnership has prevented 2,810 tons of plastic from reaching the oceans. But how are these shoes made? It all starts at the beach. Parley and its partners collect trash from coastal areas like the Maldives. The waste is then sorted, and the recovered plastic is sent to an Adidas processing plant. Adidas uses plastic bottles that contain polyethylene terephthalate, or PET. And if it's something Adidas can't use, like caps and rings, those get sent to normal recycling facilities. The processing plant crushes, washes, and dehydrates the waste, leaving nothing but small plastic flakes. The flakes are heated, dried, and cooled, then cut into small resin pellets. Normally, polyester is made from petroleum, but Adidas melts these pellets to create a filament, which is spun into what they call ocean plastic, a form of polyester yarn. Adidas uses ocean plastic to form the upper parts of shoes and clothing like jerseys. Each item in the Parley collection is made from at least 75% intercepted marine trash, and they still meet the same performance and comfort standards of Adidas's other shoes. Recycled polyester uses less water and fewer chemicals and helps prevent plastic pollution. Adidas' goal is to replace all virgin polyester with recycled polyester by 2024. Currently, more than 40% of Adidas apparel uses recycled polyester. You may have seen Adidas recycled sportswear without even noticing it. Clothing made with ocean plastic has been used in college football, baseball, the NHL, the Australian Open, and more. But this doesn't eliminate plastic pollution entirely. Washing polyester clothing can create microfibers, which may end up in the ocean. Adidas suggests that customers wash their clothes less often, use cold water, and fully fill the machine each time. But this is just the first step. Adidas is also developing a 100% recyclable shoe called the Futurecraft Loop. The shoe is made to be remade, because it can be returned and broken down to create a brand new pair. Futurecraft Loop is expected to be available in 2021. With the help of Parley for the Oceans, Adidas is using readily available material to manufacture new products, which is a big step towards a sustainable future.
We installed a water wheel to pick trash up out of the water. But we wanted to get people excited, so we put giant googly eyes on it and gave it a name. My name is Adam Lindquist. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and I helped to create Mr. Trash Wheel. Mr. Trash Wheel uses renewable energy to operate a system of rakes and a conveyor belt. He's picked up 500,000 plastic bags, over 1 million foam containers, and over 10 million cigarette butts. He's become a local celebrity, so the googly eyes just really make him come to life. And you start to care, like, oh my God, is Mr. Trash Wheel healthy? People tell me they started recycling because they loved him.
It's pleasant to see. Yeah, I mean.
Mr. Trash Wheel's power is not just that he pulls the trash out of the harbor, but it's that he gives hope that we can find solutions to these ongoing problems.
Did you know that on average, 7 million hectares of tropical forests disappear every year? The equivalent of 26 football fields every minute. Most of it comes from agriculture, whether from efficient, large farming businesses or low-yield smallholder farmers. But in order to feed our rising population, farmers need to produce more, and their most cost-effective solution is for them to deforest new terrain. However, today, nearly 40% of our land surface is already dedicated to agriculture. If this goes on, we won't tackle the climate crisis or meet the Sustainable Development Goals. It is critical that we transition to deforestation-free agriculture. But there are obstacles. First, farmers need technical knowledge to increase yields and at the same time preserve existing forests. Communities and businesses need incentives to restore degraded landscapes, and they need the capacity to implement integrated agroforestry systems where crops, cattle, and forest are mixed. Second, the transition also requires considerable funds, which farmers need to borrow from someone. But lenders and investors face costs and financial risks when financing the transition to sustainable farming. There is a need for governments, public, and private finance institutions to scale up the availability of tools such as credit guarantees and junior or first loss loans. These are forms of insurance in case the borrower cannot reimburse his loan. The lender is covered for part of his losses, lowering the risk of such an investment. Grants are also needed to support smallholder farmers with training, development, and replanting, as well as monitoring the progress of businesses and communities to stop deforestation. By coordinating the appropriate government, financial, and corporate actors, UN Environment and partners can trigger a transformational shift in leveraging public funding to unlock and scale up private finance flowing to saving forests, restoring landscapes, and transitioning to climate-smart agriculture. Let's work together to make this global transformation happen.
For 3 years now, we've been doing a project in the Amazon, creating a network of journalists reporting on the problems, the environmental problems of the Amazon. And one of the things that we started using is satellite imagery and satellite data on forest fires, for example. And this data is already open, and you can find it very easily and download it. So part of my work is training these journalists on how to find this data. For example, on a daily basis, you can find satellite imagery and data on forest fires to report. So actually, you don't need to call an expert to know if that area is being cut down, but you can analyze the data with the experts. So the satellites help you to create the story. Training journalists is a big part of this work. So last year, for example, we did a workshop with 30 journalists on how to use the public data and use it in Google Earth for creating Google Earth tours, doing the reporting, or doing interactive mapping with the data which is already open. And the interesting thing is that this data, right now it's more available in Brazil because the National Institute of Space Research has a couple of data being released, but they're working to create same standards in other countries of the Amazon. So Ecuador, Peru, they're working also to release deforestation data. So we want journalists to use these things. And right now, the next steps of this project, it's creating a kind of a data portal, or more like a big interactive map, where we're going to mix the stories of these journalists with the data. So you actually can change layers. The idea here is like the journalism stories works as a layer of information. So you have the stories placed in cities of the Amazon mixed with the deforestation data, the forest fire data. And actually, many people don't know, but even emissions data from forest cutting can be found on monthly basis. Is in NASA website. You go there and you find a graphical image of carbon monoxide. So we're creating this visualization, and at the same time we expect to foster data sharing about the Amazon, because the problem in the Amazon really is not the lack of data, but the access maybe, or the sharing of this data, or organizing. There's a lot of data being produced by organizations, by governments, and using this data, telling the story about this data, hopefully, or can change the situation of large deforestation in Brazil and other Amazonian countries.
This is the Guimarães oil spill of 2006, and it's the worst of its kind in the Philippines' history. More than 130,000 gallons of bunker oil gushed into the Panay Gulf. In an attempt to contain the spill, locals turned to an unconventional method. These freaky-looking sausage things aren't all filled with synthetic materials fabricated in a lab. It's also organic stuff you can find on most continents and probably in your shower drain. It's human hair. After the Exxon Valdez oil spill in Alaska, Phil McCrory, a hairstylist in Alabama, had a novel idea for the cleanup effort. On TV, he noticed how a sea otter's fur had become saturated with oil, and thought if that's what oil would do to an otter's fur, then the same must be true for human hair. He took scraps of hair trimmings from work, stuffed them into his wife's pantyhose, and tested his new invention in a small spill he created at his house. NASA studied and confirmed Phil's invention worked.
I called every hairstylist in Alabama till I found him. He said that his garage was full of hair being donated from salons all over the place, but he had never been able to make a business out of it. And so from like around 2000, 2001, we were partners.
They teamed up on the Clean Wave program. It collects donated hair, fur, feathers, and other fibers to make recycled felted mats and hair booms that can mop up oil spills. Turns out, hair is pretty good at cleaning up oil. It repels water and can collect contaminants.
Water goes into a sponge and it blows up, and that's called absorbent. But oil coats hair on the outside, so it's called adsorbent.
Hair is also natural, cheap, and renewable, which makes it an ideal material for cleaning up oil spills. Making a hair boom is pretty straightforward. All you need is human hair and pantyhose. Take the hair, stuff it into the hose, and voila. After getting over the freaky feeling of handling someone else's clumped up hair, place it into contaminated water and watch the hair boom do its thing.
There's little diesel spills all the time. So every little harbor can use that stuff. It was a great way to just kind of string from dock to dock and kind of protect your private beaches.
But hair booms and hair mats haven't been the principal method to clean major oil spills. They weren't used extensively in the aftermath of the Deepwater Horizon spill, where over the course of 87 days, 134 million gallons of oil gushed into the Gulf of Mexico. Instead, crews used 1.8 million gallons of chemical dispersants, oil skimmers, fire, and booms and barriers made of synthetic material to clean up the mess. With oil spills, time is of the essence. The longer oil is in the ocean, the harder it is to retrieve. The immediate ecological impact of oil spills is obvious. It kills marine wildlife and destroys habitats and breeding grounds. The chemicals used to clean up oil spills also pose a danger to human health. As of now, hair booms and hair mats are not the primary tools used to contain oil spills, but possibly one day they could be.
It was very interesting for us to see the public desire to help. There's so many hair salons in every city.
And billions more people with hair to spare. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that help for the next oil spill may be just one snip away.